Yes, 90% of households have access to electricity. Now it's just to make sure that the 10% also has access, but that electricity is constant and consistent. We also have progressed in terms of providing sanitation to households. At the beginning, the pace was much faster. Now it's becoming slower. But of course, it is always much more costly and slower to provide services to far-flung areas. For instance, when you look at the Northern Cape, it's much more expensive to provide services in the Northern Cape than it is in Gauteng. It's cheapest to provide services in Gauteng because people are concentrated in a small geographical space.
Let's get more on the story. We'll cross live to SABC News reporter Natasha Piru, who's standing by for us in Boksburg, Gauteng. Natasha, very good afternoon to you. Take us through what's happening at that summit.
Well, very good afternoon to you and of course to our SABC viewers once again. Well, the various stakeholders, the various ministers, premiers and MECs are still behind, those doors. And of course, there is a panel discussion that is currently taking place. We earlier saw the Minister of Co-Operative Governance and International Affairs, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, just giving her keynote address. And I think the key takeaway here in Zinga is that she had said that government would propose the funding model of local governments to actually change. And this has been somewhat a long time coming in Zinga, and the minister basically saying, and this also brings me back to a conversation that I had with the SABC president earlier on this year, Mr. Begistofile, saying that more money needs to be pumped down to local government, because remember, that is where service delivery actually takes place at a local level. So just interesting conversations around that. Also the various speakers just also highlighting the manner in which various municipalities are actually in a dire state in Zinga, but also, of course, to talk to me more about what was said inside and other issues, is particularly around the issue of infrastructure within various municipalities. I'm joined by Gundo Maswile from the University of Cape Town. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you somewhat happy that the minister had proposed that the funding model in local government should actually change?
Yes, I think that proposal is not even a new proposal. It's something that has been mentioned many times before. In fact, the minister, since she came to this ministry, has also been mentioning it. You remember that national government receives 45% of all our taxes, if we have to put it like that. Then provincial government gets 44%, just a percentage less. But local government, municipalities, all municipalities in the country, all 257 municipalities, are only sharing 9% that remains from the division of revenue. So the assumption was that municipalities will be able to raise funds through rates and taxes. But what we are now setting about is that many municipalities, especially rural municipalities and smaller municipalities, are completely unable to do that. So while the formula itself covers all the important elements, the weighting of the different elements is what is problematic. So for that reason, we are now burdened with the situation. Most municipalities cannot maintain all their roads and get them up to speed, not in the next 150 years, because we have actually modeled that with Matatiela municipality and one municipality under the Rugby district. And we saw that it will take more than 90 years to get all the roads if they are not getting damaged based on the current funding.
Which brings me back to what the finance minister, Godongwana, had said, that most municipalities are actually spending money they do not have, and that has a great impact on service delivery.
Yes, that is true. What we normally say is municipalities budgeting based on needs, not based on what they can afford. So they budget, it's an aspirational budget. But budgeting system based on this is how much we need to do for roads, this is how much we need for water, this is how much we need. So at the end, it's the maintenance that's suffering. Over the last 5 years, there is no municipality that spent more than 3% in maintenance of the infrastructure budget for maintenance. And the research expenditure on maintenance is 8%. It has to start at 8% for fixed infrastructure, which means roads, buildings, and so on. And it's more than 8% for fleet and cars and so on. But none of the municipalities have spent more than 3% in the last financial year. And in the last 5 years, only one municipality reached the 3%. So that is a challenge. In fact, in the last financial year, the highest was just 2% budget for maintenance. So that is a challenge. It means we won't turn the corner at this rate, and the infrastructure will continually go in a state of deterioration.
Talking about infrastructure, I mean, that's a very important point. I remember earlier on when we covered the Gauteng State of the Province address, Gauteng Premier David Makhura had literally bemoaned the fact that, the infrastructure in Gauteng is just falling apart. And when you ask why is that the case, you find that in the various municipalities, the people who were supposed to fix these issues are not even engineers, are not even equipped for the issue. How can we solve them? And how can this summit actually solve such issues to ensure that if you're in local government, you should be, you should be equipped to actually do the job?
Yeah, I think you're right. Even the AG mentioned something that was very profound. That what we have observed is that when the municipality has a certain level of stability and organization, even if the individual and the families may not necessarily be as qualified or as technically astute, they seem to have better success in terms of managing their infrastructure. So what is important is to look at the organization itself. How is it set up? How stable, how unstable it is. Now, unfortunately,
unfortunately, we have run out of time, of course, but we will have this conversation. It is an interesting one. Thank you so much for your inputs. Thank you so much for your insights.